So between Friday's last-minute budget deal and President Obama's new push to increase the debt ceiling, the Republicans are amassing lots of reasons why they should be the party of choice come 2012. Now, my next guest has not officially thrown her hat into the ring, but she told the Des Moines Register that if elected, she would serve only one term if that is what it would take to turn the country around. Joining me now, live from the great state of Iowa, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann. Why would you say just one term?
Well, I didn't say, what I said is that if it would mean only serving one, I didn't close the door on two, but I think it's important to be serious enough about the issues that if it meant not being able to run for a second term, I think we need to get serious now. We can't be about anyone's political career. We have to get serious quickly now and turn the country around, get it back on track.
All right, so you're one of 28 Republicans against the deal that came out on Friday, only 28 in the House. Is the reason you could not support this is because, to use your term, you don't think this was serious?
No, I think that this bill failed to do was it failed to show the mandate of the election of last November. We didn't seriously try to defund Obamacare in this bill. We did not defund Planned Parenthood, and we had promised we were going to cut $100 billion out of the budget. Then we reduced that to $61 billion. Now we were able to provide $38.5 billion. I appreciate that we got that much, and this doesn't denigrate any of my colleagues in their decision to support the bill. They felt they needed to support our troops. That's why I think it's very important that in any future negotiations, we take the troops out so that our troops' families and active military don't have to worry about this happening again. We need to take that off the table so we can actually fight and get real serious reductions because we need to.
The reason I'm against the deal is because this is what they promised that they would do for the 2011 budget. Now, the Ryan budget, if it's passed, would defund Obamacare, and I know that's been a big concern of yours. That budget, if it would pass, would take us back to 2008 spending levels. But the feeling I'm getting, the emails that I'm getting, the people that I'm talking to feel that, wait a minute, you said $100 billion, you prorated it to 61, and then we ended up at 38. In that sense, is that a broken promise by the new leadership?
Sean, I heard the same thing all weekend from people all over the country. I'm here in Iowa today. I'm hearing the same thing here. People are very disappointed because they thought it was going to be far more. They realize that $38.5 billion, while they appreciate it, is not going to change the direction of the country, and they're wondering, when are we going to get serious? I know that, again, my colleagues felt that they were doing the right thing by voting for this bill. I understand why they're voting for it, because of the troops. But again, they want us to get serious, and it's all the more reason why in 2012 we have to take back the Senate and the White House so we can actually deliver. But we need to fight now. We can't wait until then. We have to fight now. These are very serious economic times.
Yeah, how much do you think this was related to the fear of a government shutdown and the fear that politically the Republicans would be damaged because this would be like 1995 all over again? Because I agree with you. I think we got to fight, and I think we got to fight here. I think we got to fight over the debt ceiling. Yeah. It just doesn't seem to me a time for half measures, that we really got to get a hold of the debt or opportunity goes out the window. Do you think there was a fear to shut down the government? Was that a tactic that the Democrats used effectively?
I think that no one wanted to see the slowdown occur because it's not a shutdown, it's a slowdown. But we had a clear mandate from the November election to seriously cut spending and to defund Obamacare. People already got that issue about spending. They totally got it about Obamacare. The people would have been with us, I think, if we would have taken it all the way.
All right.
But we need to make that case. We need to be bold, and we needed to push it all the way. You couldn't wait until the day before to start pushing that message.
Will you vote to raise the debt ceiling, which, as I understand it, comes up in the next 4 or 5 weeks?
No, I won't. I won't.
And all right, so I can predict liberal arguments. By the way, cutting $61 billion means that we're going to kill women, as people said, and this is like bombing innocent civilians, and Republicans don't want women to get mammograms and cancer screening. I can only imagine when we deal with the debt ceiling issue or deal with, trillions rather than billions. What are you going to...
But we have the people with us. That's the difference.
I agree with you. I'm all for not raising it.
Yeah, people recognize that we can't just keep upping the limit on the nation's credit card. This madness has to stop. What are we going to do every 3 months, raise the debt ceiling again? At some point, you have to exercise fiscal discipline. And it isn't that revenue won't stop coming into the Treasury. We'll continue to get revenue. What it does is force government to change its priorities. We can pay off our debt obligations first, so we don't miss any debt payments, but then maybe we can't afford to pay for, certain extra employees or extra programs. In other words, we actually cut back. That's not a bad thing, and people want us to do that.
All right, so you're considering a run. You said you're going to make your decision sometime around June, if I remember correctly. Donald Trump has gotten a lot of news, and we'll be talking to him later this week on this program. What do you think of the issue that he's brought up involving whether or not the president and his birth certificate?
Well, I've said that I take the president at his word. The president has offered his certificate of birth, and I take him at his word.
Okay. Do you think it's a question that is worth asking? In other words, show the birth certificate, or do you think that's out of bounds?
As far as I'm concerned, I think if I decide to throw my hat in the ring, anybody can look at my birth certificate. I could care less. This is the easiest problem to solve. The president just has to give the proof and verification, and there it goes. Either it's real or it's not. Everybody should put their birth certificate on the table and not worry about it. It doesn't have to be a toxic issue. Put your birth certificate in, the end of story.
All right.
We have a lot bigger fish to fry than this.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us. And coming up, he served his country in the U.S. Navy for over 26 years, and now video of him being disrespected by a member of Congress has gone viral. That veteran is here to respond. Coming up next. Plus, what does Ann Coulter think about the Donald Trump's attempt to get a hold of President Obama's birth certificate? She's here to break it all down. And our Great American panel, Bob Beckel, Deirdre Imus, shoot it out. Straight ahead. As the budget battle was heating up in Washington last week, many Democrats resorted to using rhetoric that was anything but civil while delivering their message. Congressman Jim Moran was one of them, and his mistreatment of a Navy veteran was all caught on tape. Take a look at this.
I'm a 27-year veteran, disabled veteran. So I don't understand why every person in Congress is not in Congress tonight. I don't understand how you can stand up there and try to justify that this thing may actually go longer because Congress is on vacation. That is absurd.
There's not much point to my standing in an empty chamber, though, through the evening, is there? It seems to me there is a point to making myself available for people who want to make caustic comments, as well as people who have legitimate questions to ask as to what might happen if there is a government shutdown.
I take exception to calling my comments.
Now I'm talking, and you can sit down when you finish.
I really do take exception
I'm
to that.
sure you do.
Because I didn't say anything caustic.
You had an opportunity to speak. Now it's time to sit down.
Well, I take exception to you calling my comments caustic.
All right, joining me now to respond to the congressman is Wayne Tunick, who is a retired Navy captain. He honorably served this country for more than 26 years. Captain, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate to be here.
Not only did you serve for 26.5 years, I understand also you're disabled. What is your disability?
Well, I've been rated by the Veteran Administration for various things. I don't think it's important that I go into that. I'm here to talk about the troops and not me.
All right, and as I understand it, too, this was your very first town hall. You went there to speak about the specific issue. Tell us what you were trying to tell the congressman before he lectured you to sit down on a number of occasions.
Well, what I was trying to tell the congressman, and again, my beef is not with the congressman per se. Obviously, it became emotional, and I'm sure he's an honorable man. But my point was that the troops' pay was potentially going to be in jeopardy. That led to a lot of people being concerned, families and et cetera. And my point to him was, when will the troops be paid, and could the congressmen work together by getting into Congress the night before and at least getting the troops' pay saved so that that wouldn't be stopped?
Yeah, well, first of all, an honorable thing to do. We know that a lot of our military personnel live paycheck to paycheck. We've heard stories about military families being on food stamps, et cetera. So this is a passionate issue. I understand you saying he's an honorable man, But when he lectures you to sit down again and again, now I'm talking, you sit down, you've had your say, and as impatient as he was, you know, what was your reaction to that?
Well, I've been lectured a lot worse throughout my almost 27 years in the Navy, so that, again, it's not about me. I just wanted to try to get an answer to the fact that our troops, like you said, a lot of them live paycheck to paycheck. I've been the commanding officer of 2 squadrons, and I know how tough it is for a lot of them. They're young and they have families, and they can't afford to miss half a paycheck or anything. So what I think is important is we did not get a stoppage in the government, which is great, but I think a lesson to be learned there is let's make sure that that doesn't even happen again, so the troops and their families don't have to worry about it.
If we take the term public servant and we break that term down, aren't elected officials there to serve the community, serve the public? In light of that, did you think he was being of service to you when he's telling you to basically shut up and sit down?
Well, I think he was trying to provide a service to the community, and you have to give him credit for having a town hall meeting to try to give them information. Again, like I said the other day on TV, I'm from New York, so I can take it when somebody says something to me. But I just hope the point doesn't get lost on me and the discussion, and that is, let's take care of our troops. That's the most important thing.
Is there anything else you wanted to say to him before he was telling you to, well, basically shut you up and told you to sit down? Anything else you wanted to add to what you had been saying?
The only thing that I have to say is that, again, I'm sure that he's an honorable gentleman. I'm an American, and I respect my congressman. But if I could ask for one thing to be learned from this is let's make sure we take care of the troops and prevent any type of issues with pay in the future.
Well, I totally agree with that. And Wayne, Captain, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And coming up, the debt ceiling debate rages on whether or not to raise it or not raise it. That's the big question for Capitol Hill, our great, great, great American panel. But coming up next, just how dangerous is the Donald in terms of him running for president against Obama in 2012? When we come back, Ann Coulter joins us live with her take on whether or not Trump can win the Republican nomination. That's next.